You want me to review this, don't you? Oh, that was weird.
Hey, cut that out!
Why are you talking?
Never you mind that. Hey, can you review that Blu-ray over there? I'd really appreciate it.
2 Miyazaki movies. Awesome!
I'm his neighbor at camp and his chicker now. Let's see what he has to say. What's he got for us this time? They're probably Blu-rays.
Aficionados Chris.
It's a guilty pleasure.
Aficionados Chris.
It's a comfort measure.
Aficionados
Shine the lights, shoot the camera, smile for the world in panorama. He likes to impersonate walk-on.
Hey everybody, Aficionados Chris here, and I'm super excited to be reviewing 2 very iconic, very critically acclaimed, and classic animated feature films from the Academy Award winning and a personal hero of mine, Japanese animated filmmaker Hayao Miyazaki. And those 2 would of course be My Neighbor Totoro and Howl's Moving Castle. The first one I'm going to talk about is My Neighbor Totoro because it was the first Hayao Miyazaki film I ever saw. It's the one I fondly remember the most. I actually saw it years ago when I was a kid, so I got to see the original dub of My Neighbor Totoro back when Troma used to own the rights, and yeah, that was interesting. Of course, I very much enjoy Disney's dub. I like the casting choices they got in this, especially Pat Carroll as Granny, because we all love her as Grandma from Garfield, and of course, most of you know her as Ursula from The Little Mermaid. I think she's awesome in this movie. She just knows how to be a very sincere grandma character. Now, the one thing I love about the movie My Neighbor Totoro, and why I think everybody who is into animation or filmmaking in general should check out My Neighbor Totoro, is it's the kind of movie that is just pleasant. There's nothing offensive about it. There's nothing bad for kids. It's a good kids movie that adults can enjoy just as much as the kids. And what I love about it most is Hayao Miyazaki's imagination, because this isn't based on anything previous. You know, it's not based on a manga. It's not based on a series or film or a cartoon character or anything. This was all Miyazaki's imagination. He just ran with it. It was just his thing, and there's so much that can be inspired from something like that, because he just came up with something that was so amazing, and it all just came out of his head. He didn't base it on anything else. This is all his own creativity, and it's amazing. It's like E.T., basically. It's that kind of a family film where it's just, you can see the imagination in it, and it's just astounding. It's amazing to watch. Of course, it's beautifully animated. It's stunning, and the Blu-ray picture quality for this film is gorgeous. It makes the film look just brand new, basically. It's a cliche to say, I know, but you know, I haven't seen this movie since I was a kid, so it was like watching it again for the first time. It just looked phenomenal. Disney does a fantastic job with these transfers. Even for films that they didn't make themselves, if they just own the rights to them, they do fantastic jobs with these transfers. And the bonus features are really good too. There's a Japanese documentary on here where a Japanese actress, I forget her name, forgive me, but it's a really interesting documentary because it shows a lot of the areas where Hayao Miyazaki got the ideas for the look of My Neighbor Totoro. There's also one of my favorite documentaries, very short one though, is a Behind the Microphone, which is where we get to see some of the actors who did the dub of this film. We get to see them in front of the microphone and dubbing the film. I've always been fascinated by watching actors or voice actors in a studio doing a recording session. It's always fascinated me, and it's really cool to see them at work. There's also, this is a really cool thing, is that there's actually a Japanese storyboard feature, which means you can watch the entire film in the original Japanese storyboards. I've never really seen a lot of movies that do that. Usually you just have a few storyboards as a bonus feature, but the fact that they did the entire movie with the storyboards, it's a really cool feature, especially for aspiring animators who want to get an idea of how the storyboarding process works. I think it's something you should check out. So, My Neighbor Totoro is a Blu-ray I highly recommend that everybody get. Like, I don't care. If you are not an anime fan, you're going to love this movie. If you're just a film buff, you're going to love this movie. There's no way that this movie cannot please anyone. It's just amazing. It's astounding. I can't praise it enough. You have to check it out. Next up, we got Howl's Moving Castle, which, when I first announced that I was going to review a couple of these, Howl's Moving Castle seemed to get a little more attention, and it's kind of weird because I had never seen it before until, well, when I got this copy. So, what did I think of it? I thought it was nothing short of fantastic. I mean, it's Hayao Miyazaki. It's apparently based on a book that I've never heard of, but after seeing this movie, I'd like to read that book because I thought it was just extraordinary. I love the castle. Pete Docter, who actually co-directed the dub for this movie, most of you know him for Monsters, Inc. and Up, he actually was quoted as saying that the castle reminds him of the Terry Gilliam cutout animations for Monty Python. And yeah, I think that best describes it, honestly. For people who haven't seen it, the castle's actually right there, just to get you some idea, if you haven't seen this movie. But yeah, I thought this was a really good movie. It was long, but it was that kind of good long, where I didn't feel like the movie was like, oh, just get over already. It had the perfect runtime, because I was invested with the characters, I was invested with the story, and I was, like Totoro, I was just blown away by the imagination in this movie. Again, even stranger, because it's not this isn't from Hayao Miyazaki's head, it's from a previous story, and I really want to read this book because it looks like my kind of thing. And I think all the actors in this movie who dubbed it, Christian Bale, Billy Crystal, I thought everyone did a fantastic job. Nobody stood out to me like, you're just that actor. They fit those characters very well, especially Christian Bale. He actually really fooled me because I know Christian Bale. We all know him as Batman, so I was a little concerned, like, oh, am I going to see Howl or am I going to see Christian Bale dubbing Howl? Well, Christian Bale was a great choice. He really, really got this character, and I think he was perfect for that role, because he had me fooled. But if you haven't seen Howl's Moving Castle, I suggest you check it out if you're a fan of Hayao Miyazaki. It's really good. And this is coming from someone who just saw it only once for the first time, and to say it's that good that it's left an impact from one viewing, that's a phenomenal film. Now, picture quality, of course, is fantastic. Just like My Neighbor Totoro, it looks amazing, like Disney should. And the funny thing is, both movies have very similar bonus features. This one also has the entire film in a storyboard version. It also has the exact same kind of documentary behind the microphone. I actually preferred this one more than Totoro's because it was very interesting to see Christian Bale and Billy Crystal dubbing the film, because Christian Bale actually did it because he's a fan of Hayao Miyazaki. And Billy Crystal talks about how it was kind of difficult to dub in as opposed to recording like in Monsters, Inc., where it was already written and he could come up with things on the spot, whereas in this, he had to dub already existing dialogue. It was kind of difficult for him, but for the process, he did a great job. So that's about all I can say about Howl's Moving Castle. I really enjoyed it, and I'm probably going to watch this a few more times this year. I absolutely adored it. So, that was my review of two of Hayao Miyazaki's best films, but then again, that's not really easy to say because he just continuously makes fantastic movies. So, I hope you enjoyed the review, I hope you enjoyed that little intro I did, and I hope that you have a wonderful day. See you all later.